we lost the technology race. We never got to the starting gate, in fact, for the technology race. But there's a new technology boom coming along. And we've got the legacy of the past, where we've underinvested, as indeed as the whole of Europe, in comparison to, particularly to America. America has been driving growth very successfully for such a long period of time. We have to do the same. We should, we've got to get out of the doom loop. We sort of all this miserable talk that we're engaged with. We have huge investment opportunities, and we've got the money to invest, and it's just the will to invest that's not happened. And for all sorts of random policy, random regulation, and random tax changes we've made over the last 20 or 30 years, it's made it very difficult to deliver the right level of investment.
Well, we've got a new government. We've got a budget coming. What's the one measure Rachel Reeves, the new Chancellor, could take to change that?
I think the whole incentives around investment in the UK need changing and pivoted towards growth. It's not good talking about growth if you don't put in place the infrastructure to deliver growth. And that's, it's industry by industry having a plan for greater investments. And that starts at the trivial end. We know we've massively underinvested in water and energy and housing, and that's been deliberate, because that's the outcome that we've seen steadily for over the last 25 years. We have to reverse that. And we have the money. We have £6 trillion in long-term capital in the UK, much of which is misallocated with a ridiculous proportion in cash and gilts, and not enough in growth equity and risk, what's termed to be risk assets. But real risk assets, investing in low return assets over a long period of time doesn't deliver a great outcome. And that's what we've done. We've de-equitized the UK for the last 30 years, and it hasn't worked.
Okay.
Just on the specifics, I wonder about this £1 trillion figure. How did you arrive at that number?
Well, if you look at the gap, the G7, we're pretty much bottom. I think we've been bottom 80% of the years for the last 20 years in terms of the percentage of investment to GDP. We're typically in 17 to 18%. The other G7 participants are in the 20 to 25%. That's a 3 or 4% shortfall. That's about 100 billion. So that's one area. In terms of our GDP is 2.7 trillion, and about to grow 3%. It's a similar number, around about £100 billion per annum. So the maths is one-on-one type of maths, but we've got all the demand for it. If you look at housing, you look at energy, you look at water, you look at VC, you look at transport, you look at education, you look at healthcare, across the group. And indeed, a lot of the great American firms who are here, like Microsoft and Google, ask them if they're investing more in the UK. The answer is yes. Have they got amazingly glitzy new buildings? Are they attracting great talent to come and work for them? The answer is yes, because this is a great place to do business.
Well, speaking of those Americans, the UK is holding this Global Investment Summit on October the 14th. We reported last week that Jamie Dimon and Steve Schwarzman are among those who will not be attending. What are you hearing about who is coming?
No, I'm surprised they're having it before the budget. It's a very odd choice to have it 2 weeks before the budget, because a lot of the questions are going to be the uncertainty around the budget. So if I'd been asked, which I wasn't, I would have said have it after the budget and make sure you give enough lead time for people to clear their diaries around this, because they've been before and probably been a little bit disappointed. I know one of them has an amazingly difficult housing issue to resolve. So he knows how I feel now, having been in house building for many years in the UK, how difficult it is to get planning through the UK system.